Hi, welcome to training module 8. You made it to the last one. I'm so proud of you that you got through all of the trainings. So good for you. So this last one, of course, this is the hardest one. We're going to be talking about self-control and extreme ownership. This is one of the most challenging yet the most rewarding of all the trainings. Self-control is something that is so important, and as you do the deeper inner work and you start to tap into the emotions, especially when you're dealing with those negative emotions, and we start to learn where those emotions come from and how they got formed and all of these things, how it affects us and how other people hurt us and how we have hurt other people. It really makes us much more aware of the damage that can be done. And once you have this awareness, self-control becomes a whole lot easier because it's the path of least resistance. And it seems like a lot of work, right? When you just want to lose it and to try and hold those emotions back and not snap at other people. And to be in control of our own emotions. And once we use these tools and we apply them, it becomes a whole lot easier. So what we need to focus on in this particular section is number one. We cannot control others. So we cannot control others. Even in cases of extreme abuse, which I know that I had, you may be able to force behavior. You may be able to create circumstances that make it easier for a person to choose option A over option B. However, you can't do that without extreme force and extreme duress, and that takes a lot of energy. And it is much easier to draw people towards us. It is much easier for us to focus on ourselves, our energy, our behaviors, what we have within our control. And the easiest way to figure out what we have within our control is it doesn't go further than your nose. Keep your nose on your face, keep your focus on you, and stop worrying about what everybody else in the world is doing. When you focus on you, you can focus on healing the world. It focuses on when you make your own inner world better. And if each one of us does this, this is going to have a huge miraculous shift in how this world operates. Because if we truly keep that focus on us and we take ownership for our actions, our emotions, and how we react in this world, and when we are much more self-aware of what's going on internally and how those feelings, how those thoughts got there, and being able to choose a different path, it makes it so much easier. Now, don't get me wrong, this process is hard, and we are going to make mistakes. And it is okay for us to make mistakes. The thing that I found that is the easiest to ensure that I do not make mistakes is number 2. We need to apologize. And so let's talk about what an apology is. Apology isn't just saying, well, I'm sorry, and still feeling like it's not really your fault. That's not a true, authentic apology. And you can't apologize for other people's behavior. You can't apologize for their reactions. You can only apologize and make amends for your own behaviors, which means you need to understand what you contributed to whatever problem. And I can promise you, no matter what the problem is, there is always a piece that we play in our own misery. And that is a bitter pill to swallow sometimes, I know. And when I started the active act of apologizing and making amends, of making sure that I don't repeat those behaviors. Now, as a people pleaser, this also got me into hot water, okay? Because I would say sorry for things that weren't even my fault, and I would be gauging whether or not I was doing the right thing based on other people's reactions to my behavior. And that is the wrong path to go down. And it is much more important for us to look at what our intent was, what our feelings were, how we behaved, and really understanding what was my motive. And that can be really challenging to dig down to, because you oftentimes, especially as people pleasers, we get into, well, I was only trying to help. I don't understand why they are so upset. And sometimes what ends up happening when we people please and we are trying to help is what we're really doing is we are actually trying to control the outcome. We want somebody to not feel the way that they feel. We want them not to behave the way that they're behaving. Yet at the same time, when we go through this process ourselves and we really understand the deeper connections with the emotions, we can let other people go through their shit and we can watch them struggle in it, because we know what it was like to struggle through our process. So I know for myself, when I started to realize that connection, and it's so hard to detect that piece, and you can do this and take care of yourself in that process. So although it's other people's stuff, if they're going through their own emotional turmoil, whatever it may be, you can let them go through it, and you can also still protect yourself and still allow yourself to create a safe space for yourself, whatever that looks like. And nobody gets to choose what a safe space looks like for you. And nobody gets to choose if, oh, you're just being overreactive or you're just being too dramatic. No, you are allowed to self-control. You are allowed to stay in control of yourself. You are allowed to create an environment for yourself that allows you to feel okay with who you are. Now, this isn't a matter of running away from your feelings and saying that it's everybody else's fault. No. This is about going, you know what? I need to be able to calm down. I deserve the ability to calm down, and I can't do that in this space or in your energy or around you. Not to say that you have to change anything, but I am allowed to change my behavior. I am allowed to extract, step back, and do what I need to do for me, as long as I am not harming another person. That is the key to being able to check that stuff. So you are allowed to take that space for yourself, apologize, and make amends. Okay? Now, there's one caveat that I want to add with this apologizing and making amends. So, say you did something pretty bad and you're like, okay, I need to clean up the messes in my life and I'm going to apologize and I'm going to make amends. You don't get to alleviate yourself of guilt by going up to somebody who had no idea that you even made this error and tell them, I did all of these things wrong, I did all of this bad stuff, and I need your forgiveness. I want you to forgive me. That, like, can you imagine how painful that would be for that person? That they didn't even know that you did those things, and now you're coming and unburdening yourself and asking for forgiveness. that is not the correct thing. Now, if they know that you did something wrong and they know that they were hurt by it, then absolutely make those amends. Apologize for the things that you did wrong, that you know that you did wrong. Say what they are and what you're going to do to correct those for going forward. Now, this doesn't mean we're going to be perfect. We can say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to do that. We have a moment of weakness and we lose our shit. We are tired, we're overwhelmed, we get irritated, whatever it is. Again, we take responsibility for our behavior. We recognize it. You do that enough times and you apologize and make amends. You're going to get tired of your own behavior. You're going to get tired of your own shit, and you're not going to continue to do that over and over and over and over again. If you are, there's something else that's deeper that's going on, and go back through the previous modules and learn to pull those things up. And if there's something specific, then I want you to put some comments in, put something in the comments, and I can create an additional or more in-depth training on that. Okay, so so this isn't about being perfect. It's about recognizing and becoming more self-aware. Everything that we need to know is within us, and it's learning to navigate that internal journey and really understanding through our self-talk, through our thoughts, through our actions, what's going on, and identifying where do I need to self-correct. And we are always responsible for how we behave. And that can be a bitter pill to swallow, because guess what? We're human beings and we've been taught things that were incorrect. Or sometimes we think that we are doing the right thing. We have good intention, and then find out that even with all of our good intention, even with all of our self-awareness, we still will manage to harm other people. We will still manage to hurt other people. And this is where it's really important for us to learn the art of forgiveness. And this may mean you have to go back through the grieving process, and instead of doing it for the loss of others, maybe it's the loss of the identity of, oh, I really hurt somebody and I didn't mean to, and I thought I was doing the right thing, and that can really shake us to the core. And we have to go through that process of, being angry for, first of all, we were in denial, then we go through that anger process of being angry with ourselves because we messed up, we hurt somebody else, and we caused a problem, any of that kind of stuff. And then going back and through the bargaining of like, oh, well, maybe if I do this, it'll be okay. Maybe if I do that. And then the sadness of it of, you know what? Some things you do damage that you can't go back and fix. And that's okay. It is more important of what you do from today and going forward. That is how we find the true forgiveness and the acceptance of the fact that all of us are human. And when we can do that for our own shortcomings, for our own evil doings, if you will, and you might go, yeah, but they did it way worse than me, Tina, way worse. I never have done anything that bad. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you carry that guilt with you, it will cause you to continue to do bad things. And you will carry that fear, that negative energy. It will keep you closed off. And you really need to be able to let that piece go. And that is a tough journey, but it can be done. It is so important, and you are worthy of forgiveness, because I know that you would forgive somebody else. Maybe you won't. You'd be like, no, they hurt me, fuck them. And if you need to do that, that's okay. That is okay, because it's also about that self-control, right? Of not putting ourselves in harmful situations just because maybe somebody's family, and you're like, but they're family and I'm supposed to. If you feel that you should do something, then that is not the good path. That is not the right direction. Then you're doing it out of fear instead of out of love. All of your actions have to come out of love, out of a loving place. Love for yourself and love for others, right? So, for example, if you are letting somebody go, firing somebody from work, and there's a process. Most companies, at least most well-run companies, have this process of going through an improvement plan, basically, of, hey, these things aren't lining up, this is what we need you to do, this is how we need you to fix it, and this is the timeline that we need you to fix that in. And people will either start to improve and get better and everything's good, or they try to improve, it doesn't quite get it, you might have another one or another one or another one, trying to get them back on track. Eventually it will get to a point where this isn't working, and it's frustration for us and frustration for them, and it just makes everybody feel terrible. And at that point, you have to be able to recognize that even though it's a hard thing to do, letting somebody go, either ending a relationship, a work relationship, firing somebody, it has to still be done out of love, out of the best thing for them and the best thing for you. So this is something, when you can let somebody go in that particular situation, in that way, then you know you're on the right track. Then you know it is a natural, proper way to separate. So same thing with if you are leaving a company. Don't ever leave a company going, fuck you, I can't stand you, you're a terrible, toxic place to work. Leave because you have done everything you can to make everything better, and if things don't change, then you must move on, right? For your own personal growth. You're doing it out of love for yourself and love for the company, because if you stay in that situation where you're angry and you're resentful and you're fearful and this isn't working and I hate coming in here every day, that's not how you started the job. That's not how you started the relationship. You started with high hopes. You started with a belief that everything was going to work. And if it gets to the point where all you guys are doing is harming one another, whether that's a relationship, work, whatever, then out of love for one another, set the other one free. Set yourself free. Do that. Let somebody else go so that they can go someplace else to grow. And if that's not with you, that's okay. And if you guys are meant to come back around together, you are meant to learn more lessons from each other and collaborate and join together in love again, then you will find your way back to each other. And sometimes that can be really hard to do, that letting go. But when we do that, and this is done even with your kids, okay? Even with your kids, they still need to go through their process. And when we are focused on ourselves, it's easier for us to let them go. You rent your kids anyway. You get to witness them for a short period of time, and if you've done a good job, then they want to stay with you. If you have made mistakes, that's okay as well. That was part of the plan, that was part of the path, and if you focus on healing yourself, they may or may not come back, but guess what? You've still focused on healing yourself, so you're good, whether they're there or they're not. Okay? So this is the training module 8 of self-control. We have the ability to control our emotions. We are 100% responsible for how we behave. And some days that's going to be better than others. And it's a matter of when we find ourselves making those mistakes, we apologize, we make amends, we actively do that, and we forgive others and we forgive ourselves as well. Because when we can do that, when we can forgive ourselves because we've done that inner work and we know why we made those mistakes, we know why when we get stuck in fear we behaved badly, and it's easy to forgive. It's easy to shift back into love. And so when somebody else does that stuff for us, this isn't about being a doormat and allowing unacceptable behavior, but we can let go and let God, right? We send them love, we pray, we offer them more, especially if they're hurting, right? Because everything is either an expression of love or a cry for love. So if somebody is behaving in a negative, bad way, it just means they need more love. They need more love, care, and attention. But you also have the ability to assess whether or not you have the capacity to be able to give that love. And if you don't, it's okay for you not to give that love and choose to give that to yourself instead. Fill yourself up first. Find whatever makes you happy first, and then you can start to heal others. Okay? So there's many more trainings to come. Whatever topics, whatever challenges that you're having, please be interactive in the group. Share what's going on. Again, this group is not a substitute for therapy. Okay? It is to help coach you, help guide you, help give you the tools and be able to implement them so that you can change your life and get yourself to a happier place. And as we go through this stuff, I will be introducing additional trainings and additional platforms that I'll be working on to help small business owners with being able to deal with the emotional roller coaster of running business, all the different hats that you have to wear, and I'm right there in it with you, and then help guide you through this process with tools that I have found that actually work, and what to focus on, what order to focus on, and how to do this in a faster manner so that you don't have to make some of the same mistakes I did. So guys, I hope this was so helpful for you. Please leave the comments. Let me know what you thought of these training modules. Do you feel like this was helpful? Do you feel like you have more questions? Whatever they are, put them in the comments and I will make sure myself or my team addresses those. So thanks guys, and have an amazing day. Bye.